there is right now a real effort by President Trump not just to disparage John Bolton, not just by his allies to suggest that he's a tool of the left. There is now an official letter from the White House to Bolton and his lawyers saying they should stop publishing this book. This book should not be published. We are trying to get a copy of this letter. We are efforting more information and more comment from individuals, as well as, of course, a copy of the letter.
Clearly, the White House and the president, they're scared of what John Bolton might say.
They are obviously very uncomfortable with what Bolton is saying. He is alleging directly a quid pro quo.
They're doing the same thing to the Senate they did to the House, which is you try to investigate the president, you try the president, we will tie you and your entire chamber up in knots for weeks and months. And you know something? They will if you let them. You don't have to let them. You can subpoena John Bolton. You can allow the Chief Justice to make a determination in camera whether something is relevant, whether it deals with Ukraine or Venezuela, whether it's privileged or it isn't, whether it's the privilege is being misapplied to hide criminality or wrongdoing. We don't have to go up and down the courts. We've got a perfectly good Chief Justice sitting right behind me who can make these decisions in real time. So don't be thrown off by this claim, oh, if you even think about it, we are going to make you pay with delays like you've never seen. We're going to call witnesses that will turn this into a circus. It shouldn't be a circus, it should be a fair trial. You can't have a fair trial without witnesses. I'm no fan of John Bolton, although I like him a little more than I used to. But you should hear from him. You should want to. Don't take General Kelly's view for it. Make up your own mind, whether you believe him or Mick Mulvaney, whether you believe John Bolton or the president. Make up your own mind. Yes, we proved our case, counsel. We proved it overwhelmingly. But you chose to contest the fact that the president withheld military aid to coerce an ally. You chose to contest it. You chose to make John Bolton's testimony relevant, pertinent. If you had stipulated the president did as he is charged, then you might make the argument that you're making here. But you haven't. You've contested it.
Are there any senators in the chamber wishing to change his or her vote? If not, the yeas are 49. The nays are 51. The motion is not agreed to.
And with that, along the vote of 49 to 51, the motion to subpoena witnesses fails and witnesses will not be called. A crucial moment here, really a turning point in the impeachment trial of President Donald Trump.
And a turning point in American history.
It's over.
I'm Barry Gordon.
And I'm Andre Coleman.
This is NewsRap, live at 5. Oh, boy.
So what's the way forward?
The way forward is to beat his ass in November. That's the way forward.
Yeah,
that's
you know
the
what?
only thing we can do now. And we've got to take the Senate.
I don't know. Obviously, that's the answer.
Yes.
But he needs an ass whooping right now.
Well, he's not going to get one.
He's not going to get one. But so saying we got to go till November is not going to make this feel better.
No.
For anybody at all. This is a moment. This is a moment where you see exactly where the country is how I would describe this, is where you see exactly what the Republican Party has become.
It's more, well, right now, I don't know where the country is. We're going to find that out in a few days. If we start to see polls that say, look, first of all, I'm putting aside the geographical issues, right? Yes, there are states that are going to be with Trump if he shoots someone on Fifth Avenue. We know that. And they're going to be with his Republican supporters in Congress. But we got to a point where a majority of Republicans said they wanted witnesses.
Yeah.
And 75% of Americans said they wanted witnesses, and that included a majority of Republicans. Now, do they forget it next week, which is what we tend to do?
And that's my point.
Short attention span theater, you know. Do we forget it next week, or is the next poll saying, you know, that the Republican Party is at the lowest approval rating that they've ever been in history?
Well,
Because if that happens, then we start cranking out the ads, we start cranking out the noise, we get a nominee that's going to really take the fight, and I am not talking about Mr. Biden. Mr. Biden, that election will be about Burisma. That entire election will be about Burisma.
I don't.
And you don't need that burden, guys.
I'm gonna tell you
don't
this.
need it.
I'm going to tell you this. We have the worst president in modern history, and these 4 people on the Democrats are the best we could do. Seriously.
Well, I think one is fantastic. So
Well, I know you do, but
I think she is the president for our time, and I think that's basically what the Des Moines Register said. She is the president for our time.
Right now, looking at where we are and looking at who's running, she could be a good president, but I'm disappointed. And all.
So who
the
would you
finals.
have wanted to have run?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if anybody that ran was a great idea.
You know, you don't always get a miracle.
Or-
You don't
or was the
always
best-
get an Obama. Obama
I don't
was
need
a bit of a miracle.
I don't need a rock star.
Well, he was a rock star.
I don't need the Beatles again. What I needed was somebody at least that the party could have gotten behind and went, you know what? That's a good choice.
I'm not convinced that the party won't get behind whoever it is.
Oh, they will. Oh, whoever gets a nomination, the party is going to rally behind.
Right. I am not
But
convinced.
this is going to be, for most Democrats, I won't say most, but for a lot of Democrats, almost, I won't even give you a number. This is going to be more than usual a hold your vote, hold your nose, and accept this person as the nominee election. Especially if it's Bernie. I'll just say that right off the bat. And that's what it's looking like right now. But every week it's looking like it's somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know who's going to win Iowa. For all we know, Biden goes in and cleans everybody's clock, or Warren cleans everybody's
He could
clock.
do that.
Or Buddha just cleans everybody's clock.
Could happen.
This is a thing of, personally, I'm going to back the nominee. I'm going to vote for the nominee.
Right.
I ain't jumping down over nobody. A successful election for me is Trump is out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go, and so is in.
And fundamentally, that's all we need. As long as people don't stay home, that's all we need.
Well,
Hold your nose and don't vote is a problem. Hold your nose and vote, that's all we need.
we're also going to need somebody who can hopefully carry Congress for more than 2 years.
Yes.
And my fear is that we're going to get,
But Obama couldn't do that.
well, you guys are going to just keep like copying, pasting it, huh? No, he couldn't, because the Congress didn't jump up and down like they needed to over him.
That's right.
They didn't do what Mitch McConnell has successfully done.
Right.
And he was a president that should have gotten that treatment.
Well, you know, someone asked me before this vote ever happened, when they had the amendments vote, that whole long thing before they actually
Let's do
started.
the James Farr thing before they keep.
Okay, well, James says.
Is anybody surprised? Well, no, because it was obvious where the vote was going to go.
Right.
Days ago, I did think this morning when the new revelation came out that maybe it would move some people in the direction of witnesses, but
Well, when Murkowski said no,
that wasn't out immediately this morning.
that was out pretty early this morning.
When I left the house this morning, CNN was going, okay, the new revelations, and we'll hear from Murkowski soon.
Yeah.
So I thought the revelations may even move somebody else. And then he doubles down on his base and he gets bolder. Well, he will get bolder.
Well, they were right about one thing, though. They were right about one thing. Lamar Alexander was right about one
yeah.
thing. The House managers proved that he did it.
Well, yeah.
Proved that he did it.
And
Right? He's right. He didn't need to hear any other witnesses. They proved their case without those witnesses. What's the problem? The problem is a group of people, a political party in Congress, who didn't care whether they proved it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't care what he does.
I don't
And
think-
what that is called, someone asked me, well, what do you think? And I had 2 words. And I know I'm not supposed to have these 2 words, but I have these 2 words, and I believe them with all my heart.
This is going to be good.
Nazi Germany. Those are the 2 words.
Okay.
I read Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Okay? I read that book. It's about that thick. William L. Shirer wrote the whole history of the Nazi Party. And from the beginning to the end. And they had a charismatic leader who was elected.
Take it back to the Facebook page.
We think of Hitler as a
Guy who seized power.
dictator. No, he was elected as chancellor, which was prime minister of his country. And he was surrounded by a party that basically believed in him, not just as a leader, but it was a cult of personality. It was a cult around one human being. Even though it was an institutional democracy, it was a cult around one human being. And once you had that, then you had the breakdown of norms, the breakdown of rules, the breakdown of institutions. The courts were wrong. So the courts, they started to fill the courts with who? With pro-Nazi judges. And the other judges got pushed aside.
See, I disagree with you for one reason.
I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to have 6 million people in concentration camps, although we may have 12 million people deported.
Yeah.
We may have 12 million people kicked out of this country if he gets reelected.
See, I disagree with you on one thing.
All right.
You're taking it out of the country when you say Nazi Germany. Your example goes out of the country. I think of 2 words too. Jim Crow.
Well, of course.
But see, I don't take it out of the country.
Yeah.
See, this is the culture of America.
But Jim Crow was in a geographical region. There was de facto Jim Crow other places, but the actual Jim Crow, the actual prevention
Point
of
taken.
voting rights was in the South.
Point taken. But,
Okay.
but
We still had, 2/3 of the country that maybe had a chance to battle that. Right now, we have to see where this country is. Now, the one optimism that I have is that the last poll was 75% of the people wanted a fair trial. They wanted to see witnesses. So right now, that cult is really among the elected leaders. The question is, are we going to punish those elected leaders?
I don't know if I think your numbers are sound, and I know your numbers are sound. I do believe I even think more than 75% of the Americans probably wanted to see witnesses.
So what's going to happen in the next few days? Are we going to see a poll that says the Republicans, are garbage and that they're at their lowest approval rating that they've ever been?
You know what? We should be able to, literally, we should be seeing the result right now.
I don't know how you see the result now.
Sure you do. When Osama bin Laden was killed, you saw a result instantly. People went out into the street and they began to show that they were happy with the result. We have social media. We should be able to see.
Oh, I think things are happening on social media all over the place right now.
We're not able to see that, and you may be right.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested to know what kind of calls are MSNBC, CNN getting, what's going on there, how are people mobilizing, and will that go towards rallies? So this is a big question. Let's say we get these huge numbers, like the same amount of numbers when Trump was elected, where people took it to the streets. Mm-hmm. And let's say John Bolton somehow tonight or tomorrow ends up on one of these stations to read from his book or to make a point.
Yeah.
The impossible question is this, and I don't think any of this is going to happen, but it's the impossible question. If John Bolton does make points and makes a statement, and let's say 2 senators from the Republican Party go, oh my God, I was wrong. I do need to hear from that person. Or, even worse, their constituents go, what the F are you doing in mass numbers? I need to hear from witnesses. Could Monday morning this whole issue come back up?
I don't think so.
I don't think it will happen.
I think this is a done
No.
deal.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking if you think it will happen.
I don't.
I'm asking if we got to that impossible situation, which I said why I used the word impossible, could they bring this issue back up in front of the?
Who's the they? Who's going to bring it back up? You can't bring it back up unless McConnell wants it brought back up.
So could an amendment be made? Could somebody get up and say?
Yeah, and it'll be tabled, just like the amendment was as I was driving in.
So
53-47, where even Collins and Romney vote against us.
right. So my point is, somebody could make an amendment in that direction.
They could make it. It'll be tabled, and it will be
Yeah,
meaningless.
I don't think it's going to happen. My point is I'm pointing out the flaws in the system. Is what I'm saying, and I'm also saying these are the things that would show me that people are passionate about what just happened. Because see, I think the opposite is going on right now.
Well, look, what's gonna be happening? We're having the Super Bowl on Sunday. We're having the Iowa caucus on Monday, and then is it State of the Union on Tuesday, or is that a week
Tuesday.
later? Yeah,
Tuesday.
State of the Union on Tuesday, right? And by the end of all of that, nobody may be thinking about this. They may be thinking about the Oscars. They may be thinking about the next
I don't
thing.
think it's gonna last
They
that
may
long.
be thinking about, because the biggest danger that we have is a short attention span. So how do you deal with a short attention span? You have to keep reminding people.
I don't think it's
over and over
I don't
and
think
over
it's going to
again.
happen that long. What I think
I
is
don't
going
know.
to, dude, this guy's going to go on TV tomorrow
Yep.
or Sunday, and he's going to start talking about the health emergency he just declared over the coronavirus
Right. And the China trade deal.
and the China trade deal.
Yeah.
And he will take a victory lap. And he will say, "Oh, this is what's going to happen," and what he says is going to happen is going to happen.
Right. And the more he does that, the more he will anger Democrats, who are still the majority party in this country. So, because once you split away leaning independents
They are the majority party
into
in
the
the country.
parties, we're the majority party in the
But
country.
you know what, Barry? I don't have that faith anymore. I saw a whole lot of
So
people.
we have got to do some work, right? We're going to have to get behind whoever is the nominee.
I
We
saw-
have another comment from
We already have-
Jamie, which is we already have mass incarceration.
And that's
Yes,
correct.
we do.
But I
Yes,
saw,
we do.
I saw a lot of people get pissed off over Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
I saw a whole lot of people,
They marched over Brett
and they were
Kavanaugh.
out there.
Yep.
And then the Republicans gained seats in the Senate.
Yep.
The same body that confirmed Brett Kavanaugh.
Yep.
So I get and I agree about the anger, and we have the work to do, but I think you said the key words. And the key words are this, and I'll give them to you in a second. We have 9 months, 10 months until an election. And people have a short attention span.
Yeah, they do.
And I don't know if those who are running for office will come back to this during the campaign, and they should. I don't know that they will. And two of those candidates were there.
Yep.
And I don't know, one of them has no chance. 3 of them were there.
Yep.
One of them has no chance. The other 2 do.
But we don't even know if she has no chance. She may.
Klobuchar?
Yeah.
She has
She
no
may. She could pop up.
You know what? I'd be shocked.
She's
But
been
you know
going
what?
up a couple of points at a time.
I would be shocked, but I would tell you this. If Klobuchar came forward, and let's say, I don't think she'll win Iowa, but let's say she did really well in Iowa.
Well, if she doesn't get 15% in Iowa,
I know.
I would think most of her vote goes to Biden, and I think that could push Biden over Bernie.
But let's say she did really well. Let's say she won Iowa.
Yeah.
Then you could actually have your rock star because nobody sees it coming, and it would capture the public imagination. If somebody that you just don't think could win comes out of the blue and wins,
She's not a rock star. She doesn't have the
only thing that
she
makes
doesn't have the personality to be a rock
none
star.
of them do. But if somebody unexpected wins,
Well, I argue on that. I think Warren has exactly that personality.
Elizabeth
for me.
Warren is not a rock star.
Oh, I think she is.
She's really.
I know you don't think so. We're going to agree to disagree on this. I think she's a rock star. I think she's the Obama of this race, but she is not getting the traction.
Hold up,
so
bro.
obviously
Hold
I'm
up,
wrong.
Hold up. Call her the Elvis of this race or something. Don't call her Obama.
The reason I'm saying Obama, there's a reason I'm saying Obama,
Because you want her to be a rock star.
is because I think she can put together a coalition. I don't think Biden can do that. I don't think Sanders can do that. I don't think Buttigieg can do that. But I think she can do that. That's why I call her, she's new and she's fresh. And that's why I call
She's
her
not
the
that-
Obama of this election. Whereas Biden is the Hillary Clinton of this election. Been there, done that, tired, goodbye.
All of them are tired.
There's nothing tired about Elizabeth
All of them are
Warren.
tired, and the reason they're tired is because people have been showing them to me. People have been showing me Elizabeth Warren since Donald Trump got elected, and the whole Pocahontas and misappropriation of culture. And I don't really care about that. That does not mean I won't vote for her.
I know.
But the only person that's up there that I'd never seen before really is Buttigieg.
So now you're excited about Buttigieg?
No, I'm not.
All right.
I really wish, I'll say the same thing I've always said about him. I wish he would go away. Mm-hmm. He's a mayor from South Bend. And the one thing Donald Trump is showing me is that this cult of personality, we don't need to do this again.
Well, I think any of them can win with the possible exception of Biden.
Well-
because I honestly feel that the Biden election has now been tainted. I think the Republicans did what they set out to do. And instead of doing it through Ukraine, they did it through the impeachment trial.
Well, then the Democrats helped them do it, if that's the case. I will say it this way to you. I think any of them can win.
I do too.
I think Biden could still win. However, I will say this about the whole thing. There is nobody up there. Every one of them, I also think every one of them can lose.
I think that's true too.
And that's what scares me.
That's what's true too.
I think every
But
one
is
of them.
there anyone anywhere other than Michelle Obama who absolutely does not want to run? Is there anyone out there who you wouldn't say that about?
Nobody comes to mind. Well, somebody flashed through my mind. But because of the number of people who ran this time and the number of people on the debate stage and the people who got the attention they got,
Yeah.
the two people who I really wish would have, if we had a smaller field, who I think could have emerged, and this will surprise you, I think Castro and Booker could have emerged a lot stronger.
Well, you were for Castro early.
I was. And I also...
Now you know who he's with now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
I also thought that 4 years ago, Castro was going to be Clinton's running mate, and I think that was a huge mistake because she picked the most boring damn guy in the world.
And I love Booker, except that I don't think he's for this time.
No.
I don't think the
And that's-
guy that's going to say, let's build bridges, is the person
Well-
that's going to win. And that's why it may be Bernie.
And
that
that's why my earlier point was anybody I would say has been tainted by this election cycle because there were so many people. Hey, Beto
Yeah.
O'Rourke probably would have done a lot better if there were 5 people in the thing when he got in.
We're done.
You're probably right.
We're done.
You're probably right, pal. You're
it
probably
went
right.
that fast. Are we doing Facebook? I don't know. What do you
Everything
wanna
you
do?
just said is right. We're done, and it went that fast.
Okay. Are we going to
That's
do
symbolic.
Facebook or go home and cry? What are we doing?
Well, I'd like to be home. I'd like to be home when the world ends.
All
think-
right.
I think that's where I need to be.
All right. Well, we'll be in a happier mood. No, we won't. Next week, but we'll try to be. We'll try to be, and we'll do some local next week. I'm Barry Gordon.
I'm Andre Cole.
Hang in there, guys. NewsRap live at 5.
Take it easy. Have a good weekend.
This is your local news brief for Friday, January 31st, 2020. Local leaders have criticized Governor Gavin Newsom's recent efforts to expand affordable housing. Newsom has conceded the consultant's study that cited the need for 3.5 million new affordable units in the state used outdated and perhaps flawed data. SB 50, a bill supported by Newsom, would have taken power from local cities and allowed for greater housing density near transit hubs and job centers. It failed to pass the state legislature this week. Council member and mayoral candidate Victor Gordo said, "This is just another example of where a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach doesn't work." Mayor Terry Turnick referred to the discrepancy in Newsom's numbers used to justify the state's response to housing, saying, "It's bad for public officials, particularly respected and critical public officials like the governor, to put out numbers that are so at odds with what experts would say are more plausible because we have a housing shortage." The coronavirus has been confirmed in Los Angeles and Orange counties. There are 5 total confirmed cases in the United States. The Los Angeles County Health Department has released a statement saying, "This is a rapidly evolving situation and information will be updated as it becomes available." The Huntington Hospital has released a statement saying, "To date, we have not had any patients diagnosed with the novel coronavirus at Huntington Hospital at any time." The hospital has implemented the protocol of screening every patient who enters the facility. Hospital staff recommends basic prevention tools like washing your hands with soap and water, using an alcohol-based sanitizer, covering your cough, and avoiding contact with those who show cold or flu-like symptoms. There are currently no confirmed cases in Pasadena. Integral DENA, LLC, is now the second cannabis retailer to be approved by the city. The cannabis retailer has been linked to controversy in regards to its desired location. Law reads, "No retailer shall be established or located within 600 feet measured from the nearest property lines of each of the affected parcels of any existing residential zone." The desired location measures 566 feet from the nearest commercial line, but 602 feet from the commercial line's residential zone. Approval for the retailer comes with scrutiny, calling it favoritism. In the winter, Councilmember John Kennedy accepted a donation from Integral for his holiday party. In Integral's application, it was stated that representatives met with multiple members of the city council as well as city staff. A member of city staff and several council members have denied meeting with Integral DENA, LLC.